It was heavily criticised by many when it was announced Daniel Ricciardo would be cut from his contract a year early and replaced by fellow Australian rookie Oscar Piastri. Many people thought that Daniel was not treated fairly and McLaren was going to regret the decision massively. They were replacing a multiple-time race winner with a rookie who had never even taken part in a practice session for any team on the grid, let alone a race, of course. However, Zak Brown especially said that Daniel was not performing well enough, which was very true for his 2 years at McLaren, and they had to drop so the team could pretty much have two drivers who were scoring points. Let's be honest, Lando Norris absolutely schooled Daniel Ricciardo for the 2 years, except for the race in Monza in 2021, which Daniel won ahead of Lando. But Piastri was going to come in with the hope of him performing well and being closer to Norris so they could have two drivers fighting for or in the points. And it looks like it has worked well so far in 2023. Piastri looks comfortable in the car, and yes, Norris is beating him most times, but that is to be expected as he's a rookie and Norris is a top driver wanted by the best of the best in the paddock. In today's video, we will be talking about how Piastri is performing better than Ricciardo as he is close to Lando, how he is getting points when he can, and how good of a rookie season he is having so far. Let's get straight into it. Kicking off this video, we will be talking about how, if it is true that Oscar Piastri is performing better than what Daniel Ricciardo was doing last season. Before we get into this, it has to be said it is harder to compare the two due to them both having different cars, and of course it is very different seasons. But last season, Ricciardo was barely in the points, or even close for that matter, being knocked out in Q3 in most occasions with a faster car than what Oscar has this year. Oscar has been very close to Lando, and on a lot of occasions with him starting 1 or 2 positions behind him and finishing 1 or 2 positions behind him. This isn't in every race. When you look at Monaco, for example, McLaren took home P9 and P10 with Norris ahead of Piastri, which is great for the team and the drivers. It shows how close the two are in terms of pace, and this is what McLaren wants the most, as it means more points for them. In 2022, there were many occasions when Norris would be in the points and Ricciardo would be all the way back in P16, for example. This year, it is very different, and even though Norris beat Ricciardo and is beating Piastri most times, gap is much closer in 2023 than it was with Ricciardo in 2021 and 2022. This is the whole goal of bringing in Oscar and replacing Daniel, was to have two cars always relatively close together. The thing is that Piastri has over Ricciardo is that he is a rookie, and showing these performances in his first year is extremely promising for the future. He has much more room to grow than Ricciardo did, and this is good for the team as they want to have a young team and try and keep Norris on, and if they can keep Piastri until they have a competitive car, then they will have a world-class team. Both Ricciardo and Piastri are both being beaten by Norris as he is a world-class driver, but Piastri has nothing to be ashamed of at all, and he can build on this season and try to get closer to Norris or even beat him over the next couple of years. Overall, it is very early into Piastri's McLaren career, but if he continues to produce these performances, it has to be said that he is performing better than Ricciardo did at McLaren. What do you think? Is Piastri, who is a rookie, performing better than a multiple-time race winner did, or did Ricciardo deserve to fulfill his contract until the end of this season? Let us know what you think in the comments below. On to our next topic, which is how he is getting points whenever he can and how many he has got all the way up until the Monaco Grand Prix. With there being 4 teams in Aston Martin, Red Bull, Mercedes and Ferrari, which are much quicker cars than the midfield, this means that on most occasions there are only 2 or 3 points positions up for grabs. But Piastri so far this season has gotten a fair amount for a rookie. In Bahrain, he would not have the best of luck with him not having the best debut, finishing P20 due to a mechanical issue with his steering wheel. But even if he continued to race, there was a slim chance of getting points due to how bad McLaren looked, with people calling it the worst car on the grid. In Saudi Arabia, the car was still pretty bad, but Oscar did finish P15, so that's an improvement from Bahrain, I guess. At his home Grand Prix in Australia, he would finish P8 and took home a massive 4 points, which was much better than the first 2 races, and the McLaren actually looked like a solid midfield car. In Baku, he would just finish outside the points in P11, which was not the best, but not the worst. Miami was a shocking race for Oscar, but also for McLaren as well, as he would finish in P19 as the car looked terrible once again. Monaco, which was the most recent race as we speak, Oscar would take home a point in P10, which was solid just behind his teammate. Overall, Oscar has taken home 5 points for the team, whilst Lando has taken home 12 points, which shows how he is not far off from Norris. The car has been poor for the majority of the season, and for a rookie, he's doing very well for himself. Obviously, last year, the McLaren was much better than it is this year, and would have been interesting to see how he could have done in last year over Ricciardo, or how Ricciardo would have done this year alongside Lando in the tractor of the McLaren. Piastri has taken points when he can, and where the car is actually good. And it has to be said, he looks very promising, and McLaren does have another talent on their hands, but the question is if they can provide him with a good enough car to be able to show his true talent. That is the question on everyone's lips. Our third and final topic is how this season so far for Oscar Piastri is turning out to be a very solid rookie season, especially when you compare it to other rookies on the grid. Piastri has just been doing his job, even when he was very ill like in Miami, and giving it his all on the track and at the factory to get the best performance out of himself and the car also. He knows he has to come into the team to be the second driver alongside Norris. However, he also does want to prove himself to McLaren that he is a driver that they should stick with. He has been very crash-free on the track, which is what a rookie will want to make sure that they have the most confidence going into a race weekend. Piastri just has been doing a very good job, and nobody is really talking about it because he's not involved in any drama like other drivers are when it comes to incidents on the track. When you look at another much more experienced rookie in Nick de Vries, it is almost night and day between the two. De Vries is very crash and incident heavy, while Piastri is just doing his thing on the track and staying out of trouble, which stops a lot of pressure to be put on him, whereas de Vries has the pressure of being replaced due to how he's performing. Overall, Piastri is having a very fine and class rookie season in Formula 1. He is doing everything that is being asked of him, and we are sure that he will be able to show even more talent once he is given a car that is competitive enough to fight for points every single race, or even fight for a podium every now and again. What do you think of Oscar Piastri's rookie season so far? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more videos just like this one.